Hi everyone, welcome to FLC Live. We are here to answer all of your questions today related to the Leadership Center and student involvement on campus, as well as things like orientation, pre-orientation, and anything else you'd like to ask us. We'll do our best to answer it. As before, if you have a question for us, please write them in the comments below, and we will read those online and answer them to the best of our ability. So today we are in the Leadership Center, which is located in the Student Union on campus. And I'd like to introduce my guests that are here today. First off, we've got Mark Mistalski, the Director of the Leadership.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mark.
Sure, my name is Mark Mistalski. I'm the Director of Leadership Center. I've been at Fort Lewis. I'm on my 11th year. 11th year here, and love the school and glad to be here, and especially with the three of you, because I'm looking forward to what you all have to say about your great time here at Fort Lewis. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I learn every time we do one of these. I learn so much more about campus and just sort of in general and about the specific program we're talking about.
I already did before you even turned the camera. Right here, I'm learning stuff all the time.
Katie used to play rugby.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Okay. We've also got Jolie Allen here. Jolie.
Yeah, hi, my name is Jolie. I'm a senior here at the Fort. I'm majoring in business administration and psychology.
Cool, double major.
And yeah, it's going to be my third year here at the Fort, so I'm really excited.
Awesome. And where did you come from?
I'm from Pinon, Arizona, so it's a little place on the reservation.
Okay, awesome. And then we've got Katie Akulo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Katie Akulu. I am from Fort Collins, Colorado, so just up north. And I'm a junior here at Fort Lewis studying public health, and I'm also on the pre-med track.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And what kinds of stuff are you involved with here, Katie?
I am the president of Black Student Union on campus, and my freshman year I actually had the chance to start playing club rugby, as you were saying.
Our big news for the day already. Yeah. Katie plays rugby.
And I got involved with Residence Hall Association. I'm still involved in pre-health club on campus, and I work at the Environmental Center.
Awesome. Thanks for all of that. And we've also got Natalia Sells, our reigning Miss Hajoni. Natalia, can you tell us about yourself?
My name's Natalia. I'm from Shiprock, New Mexico, and Tisnaspas, Arizona. I am a senior majoring in business management with a minor in English communications, and I'm expected to graduate this spring, so yay. I'm also the business director for The Independent, which is our news organization here on campus, as well as they all mentioned the Miss Hajoni for the college, which is like the Native American ambassador for our students, and it's a part of our RSO Wambliota.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for being here. We have such a diverse group of different experiences, and you guys all have cool different backgrounds, so thanks for being here to share that. But let's just get started. Mark, what is the Leadership Center? What is it that you guys do here?
Well, the way that we kind of like to describe the Leadership Center, and I think you might all have your own experiences and thoughts on this, but we often say it's one of the hub on campus for student involvement. And another way to say that is we believe very strongly that students should get to create their own adventure, right? So when a student comes here, we know that they're going to have classes you have papers due, exams to take. I know, Katie, you just had one today, so I'm sure it went very well. But you're going to walk out of those classroom experiences, and what we want is to make sure that students have the opportunity to say, and I also want to do X. I have passions in this area. I care about these types of things. How can I get involved? And we've already heard different things about the Environmental Center and the Independent and different sorts of organizations. These are student-run, student-coordinated types of organizations that allow students to do exactly that. They develop skills, everything from fundraising to hosting programs, and then they hopefully walk out with taking those experiences and saying, I got to create what I wanted, who I wanted to be at Fort Lewis College, not just, I got my classes.
I got this degree.
Right, check. Exactly. So that's one of the ways we like to talk about it, and for every person who comes here, that looks different. They might join something that already exists, or they might walk in and say, hey, I care about this? Do we have a student group focused on this? No, we don't. Great. How can I start it? There's Katie, I think, has a great example with Black Student Union. We really didn't have one on campus, and through her interest and other students and some faculty and staff, like, great, here we go. Now we have a very vibrant, Black Student Union, and hope that, those types of things that will continue for a long time. We also oversee programs such as orientation, which all students will get to enjoy. Jolie's one of our, all three of you have been involved with orientation, but I know that Jolie's been one of our senior team members. And so that's a big part of what we do, as well as leadership programs that are open to all students. And there's a lot that comes that we both do as programmatically, but a lot of what we do is here to support students, again, in what they care about and what they'd like to create.
Cool. And do any of you guys have anything to add about that? Like the role that the Leadership Center has played in your college career so far?
Yeah, I mean, in addition to being a great resource for all of the things that Mark just mentioned, the Leadership Center is a place where you can just go and be present with people who are also trying to make students' lives on campus better, whether it be the professional staff or the person who's working at the front desk, the student who's working there, our WellPAC Wellness Peer Coordinator. I was in here just earlier today, and I got the chance to just sit down, do some studying, and have some great conversations about how to get students involved in different activities that we're all trying to plan.
Cool. And you just mentioned the professional staff. Mark, can you talk about how this is supported by professional staff?
Sure. So in the office, we have 5 professional staff. We have Patrick Fredericks, who oversees our leadership programs and is also an assistant coordinator for orientation. We have Grace Chang, who's our union programming coordinator. She works directly with a student group called Student Union Productions, and they do and they do a lot of great things, including a music festival that's held every year called Skyfest. Elizabeth Kalagius is the assistant director, and she also coordinates our student orientation on campus. There's myself, and I work very closely with student government, which is called ASFLC. And then we have Kendra Gallegos-Reichel, who oversees WellPAC. Thanks for that call, Katie. WellPAC is our Wellness Peer Advisory Council. Again, student peer counselors who meet with other students and talk about issues that they might have in their life, whether it's around sexual awareness and health issues, alcohol, drugs, things like that. So that idea of students working with students is a big topic here.
Cool. And what about the physical setting here? I know you guys online maybe can't see all of it, but what's in here, guys? What do you use the most when you come by the Leadership Center? Obviously, other than the popcorn machine, clearly my favorite thing because I work in this building.
Definitely, there's butcher paper in here, and you probably can't see that, but we use that to make posters or promote different events here on campus, or even just I know I came in here to help make Go Fort Lewis College posters for my float for the Miss Hajoni role. Nice. So there's a lot of supplies in here that students, if they're looking to use those things for the RSO events or something, they can come in here and utilize those as well.
Cool. Anything else? Katie talked about study area and just hangout space.
Yeah, I mean, I started to work here as a freshman at the front desk, and it was really a great way to get to know students and get to know the RSOs that were registering here.
Okay.
And people are coming in and out, and they're asking what is this? And it's kind of just no, come in, hang out. Especially RAs too, because they utilize this facility in order to create poster boards and billboards for their own residential halls and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a great area to meet new people and welcome new incoming freshmen.
Cool. Yeah, just sort of a resource for the whole campus.
Right. Yeah, and as Jolie mentioned, we always hire students to be the face of the center. So when you walk through the door at the desk, at the front desk, the first person you see is a student, and that's also something that's common on campus. So when you walk past the environmental center and again, who's the face of the Environmental Center, which is a student organization? It's students, even though we have outstanding staff. Rachel Landis and Marty Poole do a great job, but why are they there? Because they want to support students who are interested in these topics. KDUR is our radio station on campus, and Bryant Liggett and other folks there, again, they're professional staff. It's a student organization, which means every semester, about 40 students get to host their own radio shows.
So cool.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. So if you like spinning records or however you like your music, go to KDUR and get your own show. It's pretty awesome.
Awesome. Well, cool. It looks like we've already got questions. I think the questions were showing up before we even started, so we love you guys out there.
Because they knew how awesome the panel was going to be.
So this question comes from Krista. She's asking about resources, specifically a gathering place for non-traditional students. We don't necessarily have that officially right now, but like Mark, you touched on, if a student wanted to get a group going, how could they do that? And then maybe down the road, get some resources, spaces for that group.
Right. Thanks for the question, Krista. So we have, first of all, there's many places on campus that are just open types of places for hanging out, meeting other people. We also have meeting rooms that can be scheduled by students to host, their own meeting times or events. What I would recommend is we do have a lot of non-traditional students, transfer students who are looking for opportunities to connect with others. And we actually talk about that at orientation. We have part of orientation. We actually have a part that is specifically for those groups because we know how important those connections are. And I would say finding some people who would be interested in creating that kind of a structure, if you want that with a student organization. It just takes 4 students to fulfill different officer positions, an advisor who can be a staff or faculty member. And the great part after that is once you get that done, the student government basically gives you money. They'll give you $100 to start your own organization, and we'll provide other support with talking about how to put events together, and again making sure that we're helping you fulfill what you'd like to achieve and the contributions you want to make on campus. So I guess I would say that's just some of the other ways. But any thoughts from you all about that?
Yeah, I think it's definitely not the same, but I see parallels in how we try and structure Black Student Union or BSU. Thanks to the work that a couple of students did the year before I got here, Dabney and Michaela, the organization was created. And the way that I see it, it is a space to build community. And Krista, I think that's one thing that you're looking for is somewhere to build community. And yeah, I would definitely recommend just start a club and host some events where it doesn't have to be big. It could be a movie night or a game night, just getting to know your peers and being in a space where you can feel connected. And then you can move on to do other things if you're interested.
Yeah, cool. So again, if someone wants to start a club, they would just come right in here when they get to school, and you guys have sign-ups for new clubs right at the start of this fall semester?
Yeah, it's all through it's actually all through the year now.
Okay.
We really don't have it's all fall semester, and then we allow for the first basically till the start of February. Because believe it or not, once we get into February, we're already thinking about the next academic year. So many organizations are already registering for next academic year.
And you guys already started that for this semester, right?
Yep, we've already started that. So that's a very important thing is talking about transition, whether you're graduating, thinking about that next part, right? That journey. We do the same thing with student organizations. And hey, who's gonna keep this running when you graduate? How do you make sure that happens?
Cool. Let's talk about some of the specific programs that are available through the Leadership Center. And Leadership is something that's that we're doing, and I saw you in the photo, which means you've already done a version of it, right?
Yeah, it's like I can't explain. Like
can
leadership
tell
was
how
just it was
excited you
a
are.
great like program that I got the opportunity to experience over the summer, and it was through the orientation program just because all the senior team members were going to be coming back and demonstrating qualities of leadership and communication. So it was a really big changing point because it was just a whole week straight of learning how to collaborate with each other, getting to meet people of diverse nature. And we traveled out of Colorado for this.
Cool.
And we actually went to Champaign, Illinois. It was a really great experience. It was kind of funny because they were like, we're gonna have to take your phones and stuff like that. We're gonna like just, try to limit like your social interactions, like as far as online goes. And that was kind of like,
Was that kinda scary
it was
at
kind of
first?
scary, because I mean, like out here we're surrounded by all this technology, but taking away that actually gave people a lot more time to connect, a lot more time to experience, just like what it's like to interact with different individuals of diverse backgrounds.
Okay.
And like taking that program and implementing it here with the students and like with other people who like demonstrate good leadership qualities on campus is just going to be a huge change, and I'm really excited to see it.
Cool. Awesome. Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, what we're super excited about is, Jolie is one of the students who we actually sent her to
So
the
sort of
program.
piloted
Right.
at going elsewhere, but
Yes.
now we're going to start hosting those
Now
events
we're
here.
going to host it, and so this is a really exciting and new endeavor for us. It has, it's actually part of the peak experiences. So it's not just this program, which is called Ignite You, which features the Leadership Institute, but there's going to be other programs. The Environmental Center is going to host their own. The Native American Center and Diversity Collaborative will have their own peak experience. And then, Outdoor Pursuits, which is the Summit to San Juan. So there's going to be 4 unique experiences that students will be able to enjoy
And now
before they
peak
even get
Right,
here.
so peak experience is pre-orientation. So these are
Pre-orientation,
happening during the
right.
summer. These are open to students, freshmen and transfers that are on their way in for their first semester
Yes, and they're held at different points during the summer. So the Ignite U, which we're going to be hosting off campus at a facility about 15 miles west of campus, will be taking place in July. So we'll be opening up registration for all these programs in April, and so students will start to be able to register and sign up for them. And we'll be filling those spots. Our program, the Ignite U, has space for 60 students.
Oh, wow.
And we're gonna fill it up.
And these are competitive.
These are competitive.
So a lot of these programs are new this year, but peak experiences regularly fills up pretty quickly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
which is the original peak experiences,
Right.
which is now called Summit to San
Some
Juan.
San Juan's, right. That takes 80 students, or the original version did, and they always had a wait list. So we're glad to really expand the opportunities,
Yeah.
because again, here's what we're trying to do, right? Whether you're interested in sustainability and expanding on that, here's a great opportunity to do that. If you want to climb mountains, here's an opportunity to do that. If you want to learn, involve yourself in real kind of intense discussions and experiences around leadership and what that means, here's a way to do that. The Native American Bridge program. I mean, this is all about, creating that community that Katie talked about before you even get to campus, because we know that stepping onto campus, moving into your residence hall, that's a scary moment.
That's a little nerve-wracking.
Yep.
Yeah.
So why not start developing friendships before you even get here?
Totally. So, any prospective students out there, if you're a little, nervous about coming to campus, this is a great opportunity for you guys to make those friends ahead of time and just come in with already a solid unit, a solid community. And are there different costs for those programs? I know.
There are. Each one does have a different cost
Specific cost.
associated
Okay.
with it. The website has not been launched yet,
That's
but
right.
it will be
We're working
launched
on that
probably
one.
sometime in April.
Cool. And those will be available to start signing up during preview weekend, which is second weekend of April, I believe. So cool. Well, that's going to be exciting. And then
is.
for current students, we have a different leadership option, right?
Yeah, so we are actually hosting another Leadership Institute, which is for current students, and that will be the very first week of May. So as soon as school ends and we're out, we're going to be taking 60 students up to Purgatory Resort.
Awesome, our local ski resort that everybody loves.
It'd be a beautiful, beautiful facility for people to really, again, do this work that Jolie was talking about. And she'll be the on-site coordinator for that event, so
Running the
she'll
show.
she'll be doing a lot of that, and so yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Cool. What other Leadership Center programs are there? I know there's LEAD, I believe.
So we have LEAD.
What's that all about?
LEAD is a program that's run, coordinated by Patrick Fredericks, our leadership programs coordinator. And where it came from was we knew that we wanted to provide students with a different type of experience beyond just the student organizations. We wanted to provide our own type of formal program. And so it's actually a 2-year, a 4-semester program where it starts with, it's bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Each semester builds on the previous semester. So there's a lot of internal work, like learning about who I am and what I value, what I care about, and then taking that, well, what does that mean now? How do I work with others? How do I create change? And we do we work with other campus partners to come in and talk about contemporary issues, everything from resumes and cover letters, so there's career development in the program as well. But we also, look for students who they'll be doing presentations around, again, contemporary leadership issues, whether on campus or anywhere in society. So we think it's a pretty unique program.
Cool. So that's available for current students, open to any major, anybody who wants to do it.
Yes. Yep.
Cool. And then Leadership Center is also responsible for orientation, and I want you guys to talk about orientation because all 3 of you have been part of that. Why do you think orientation is so important for a new student to take? It is mandatory, but why do students want to take it?
I personally loved my orientation experience, and that's part of the reason why I decided that it was a path I wanted to take to become an orientation leader. And I think it's so important that you're able to be engaged in orientation because it gives you a whole new perspective on the school.
Cool.
Like maybe you came for preview weekend and you got a tour of the campus or presentations by faculty and staff. But when you're here on campus for orientation, whether it's your first time here or you've been here before, you get a whole new perspective because you're being led by a fellow student.
Right.
And
not just one of those old people.
Yeah. And we have a lot of great experiences to share, and we have a lot of insight on how to move throughout the campus or move around Durango. And I think just being able to get to know your orientation leader as a resource and a friend, it really helped me to have a great experience coming into Fort Lewis.
Cool. And in orientation, you're in small groups as well, right? So that's another little mini community that you're building and spending a lot of time with those people in your first couple days on campus?
Yeah.
Cool. Natalia, do you have anything to add about your orientation experience?
So my orientation experience was, I had a couple of friends who came to school here at Fort Lewis the same year I did, but we were all split up. And being at the time very introverted, it was kind of like a bit of a shock, oh my goodness, I'm not with my friends. But at the same time, it was pretty cool to get to meet new people and kind of share experiences and trade back and forth, how we're all in this pool together. But it was pretty awesome. Got to, like Katie was saying, it was really cool seeing it from a student's perspective versus seeing a formal presentation about the college, because you're getting this experience from someone who's been here already too. And a lot of the people that I was in my orientation group, I'm still talking with them today. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
We'll be joking. We'll be like, oh, remember when we were in orientation together? And
awesome.
But yeah, it's a great experience, and you do build connections during that time. It helps you be able to integrate better into the Fort Lewis College community.
Cool. Jolie, do you have anything to add?
Just that, I really recommend going to orientation. Like, a lot of people skip out on it because they're like, oh, it's just going to be more hours. But I mean, like, they really do introduce you to a lot of really great resources here on campus. I mean, the career services, like work study programs, they show you like how to log into Canvas and how to use the system to like your best advantage. And so, I mean, like, my first week, I probably would have been really lost not knowing how to navigate through my assignments or through the syllabus. But, I mean, like, coming really helped establish, like, a good basis for my academic, like, part of, like, what I wanted to have help at here with Fort Lewis.
Okay. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And we have a lot of fun, too. Yeah. I mean, that's what we're all here for, to enjoy our time at Fort Lewis and get a great education. So orientation is definitely a fun experience.
Cool. What is your favorite part of orientation?
Oh, gosh.
Either to lead or when you were a student, when you were just coming in. There's so many cool parts to it.
Yeah. I think what was really, a couple of things this past year that were great was we had this prepare for takeoff section, and we got to play this large group game in the amphitheater, and it was kind of like a game show theme. So we got to compete.
Is that the Fort
Feud?
Fort Feud, yeah.
Fort Feud.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so that was fun to like group up and have that competitive spirit to kind of bond your orientation group, but then also learn a lot of information about Fort Lewis.
Cool.
And the community.
Other favorite parts?
I mean, I just really liked working like as a part of the senior team, just because I got to see the background of what all goes into orientation, just because, I did not really, I kind of took for granted the like amount of work that other students had put into it when I was a freshman, just because I was like,
You're like, they just all showed up and just started.
They just all are here for us. But no, I mean, like the background laying of it was so fun. I mean, planning Fort Feud and going through the questions, going through the simulations was super fun. And I was like getting excited thinking about how the students would respond to it too, just because it was like, I want to make them want to come here and want to be a part of this community.
Yeah, totally.
And I'll just add, because I know sometimes there's students and families who come here and they go on a campus tour, or they come here for a Friday at the fort, and they may even come here for spring preview, one of our biggest events in April. And then they're like, okay, great, I'm coming to Fort Lewis. I don't need to go to orientation. I've already got it. But the orientation is not campus tours.
No.
It is about transitioning to college and what it means to be a successful Skyhawk. And there's, I had a mentor that said, you don't know what you don't know. And if you're not there, you have no idea what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so that's why we really, it's emphasized so much. We know how important it is to kick off your career on, in a very positive way. And that's why we do this.
Absolutely.
And then fun fact, we also show you where your classes are your first day.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There you go. Which is good to know.
If you're into not wandering around, not being totally lost on your first day, you should go to orientation.
Yeah. I think, Patrick, you brought up a good point about like knowing what it really is to be a student here at Fort Lewis. One of my other favorite parts of orientation is the elephant in the room.
I was just going to bring that up. I think that's super cool.
Because I think it's such an informative and essential presentation to go to. It talks about
Can you explain like how it's set up, kind of?
Yeah.
Like,
so this year was different than when I went through it as a freshman. And I am going to say props to the theater department because it was amazing.
Cool.
It's definitely very powerful. And you go through this whole scene of different experiences that you may or may not encounter at a college campus or at Fort Lewis.
So it's like a theatrical production. It's like a play about what campus could be like. Kind of.
Yeah.
Or what?
On campus or off campus. as
Sticky
far as-
situations kind of thing.
Partying, drugs, alcohol, or even just like stress and relationships with your roommate, relationships in general. And then we go through, these are the resources on campus to help you if you're ever in a situation where you feel like you need assistance in any way.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So orientation, top billing, gonna be the best thing ever.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Looks like we've got another question from the interworld.
So Patrick asks, what cultural organizations, programs, or trainings does FLC offer?
Oh. Who wants to talk about that?
plug for Black Student Union.
One more time, Black Student Union.
Yeah. I think BSU is a great resource for anyone who identifies as Black or African American or wants to be an ally. So that's what I'll say. Check us out. And I think
And what kinds of stuff do you guys do?
So we put on events within the community, and then we also do some activities internally as an organization. Currently, we're planning a hair show that will be
Awesome.
coming up in this coming spring semester. And in the past, we've hosted a blackout party with a Fort Lewis student as our DJ or
Oh, yeah, I remember
artist. We've done a lot of social justice actions. We've done rallies for different movements around Black Lives Matter. We've done vigils for people who have been killed by police brutality. So we try and encompass like cultural aspects that are positive and fun and that we like to engage in and share as a community, and then also bring up these issues that people need to be talking about.
Yeah.
Because they're prevalent in the world and shouldn't be.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for leading that charge. That's awesome. And Natalia, you want to talk about Wambleota at all, or
I can talk about Wambleota. I can also talk about the indie.
and the indie?
So about 30% of our student population here at Fort Lewis identifies as Native American or Alaska Native. And so with such a huge student population, and they all come from different groups, different tribes, it's really important for us to have an organization that is able to represent that cultural pride. So Wambleota is like very active in putting on our Hojoni Days Hojoni Days pageant and powwow. And so the powwow is held around April time, and it's a pretty big event. It's planned all year round. We also do the Hojoni Days pageant, which I am this year's, as I said, Miss Hojoni, soon to be Ms. MX or Hojoni Ambassador, whoever the next one coming in. But yeah, so they do a lot with trying to represent the Native student population here in a way that is very allows also the entire student body to gain that cultural awareness as well.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, we have so many, I think by last count this semester, it's around 170 different tribes represented on campus. So, so many completely different cultures, but Wambleota offers a place for them to sort of come together and unify. I think that's really cool.
They also work a lot with our other Native RSOs that we have here on campus too. We have clubs like Buffalo Council, Dene Club, and many more that are still up and running too. But my next plug is also going to be about the Indie.
Yeah, talk about the Indie.
So the Indie is our news organization here on campus, and I didn't join until my sophomore year. I wanted to do it my freshman year, but I was kind of a little scared at the time because I was like, oh, I'm a business major. What will I do in a news organization? And then I contacted the faculty advisor first. I emailed her. It was Dr. Leslie Blood, and I was like, what does the organization do? Or how can I kind of be involved? And she was so helpful. She was like, this is what we do. This is how we're broken up. I recommend you come to our next meeting. So I came over there, and I found that they had a business department where they learned the students kind of fundraise, got ads, promoted the magazine. But what's pretty cool about being part of the Indie for so long too is that even though I work primarily with the business department, I'm still able to pitch stories about what we could explore. And also, the organization taught me how to write AP style, and that was able to help me a lot with when I submitted an article for the Herald, and they published that last year.
That's awesome.
So little things like that, just kind of taking that extra step to be a part of something that you just have a general curiosity in, even though it may not relate to your major, was pretty awesome. That's what I think I really gained from the Indie. It also offers students the opportunity to do photojournalism, learn how to write,
social media,
Indie TV, design, all that fun jazz that you could do with it. It's very much an entirely student-run organization.
And can you talk a little bit about how the Indy is both a student organization and there's also an academic component to it? Like some people can
Yeah.
take it for credit?
Yeah, so the Indy as well as KDUR are set up as practicum styles. So if you want to earn college credit, you can enroll in the class and you get college credit for it, and you also do like additional assignments as well, so that you are really gaining like the extra experience with it. You can take it for lower division or you can take it for upper division after you've taken it for a semester or so. And both KDUR, which is like which is our college radio, and the Independent are set up like that. Yeah.
Cool. Any other clubs you guys want to plug while you've got the floor?
Definitely. Well, I mean, like, you know, or like not specific clubs, I guess, but organizations. I really like the NAC just because they do a lot of like really good Native American
NAC is
programs.
Native American Center for those who are uninitiated.
And they're involved with Real Histories of America, which is also
talk
another
about
big
that.
Indigenous like movement on campus. And
Yeah.
it happens on Columbus Day, but is now being named Indigenous Peoples Day, which is like a really big A+ right there.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
Fort Lewis students are the one who really pushed for that and then got the town of Durango to actually change what they call Columbus Day into
Ruthie
Indigenous
Ed
peoples.
was huge behind
Ruthie Ed
that,
student?
doing it here,
Yeah,
going
like-
down into town and getting that change. So great. I mean, again, just an example of students doing great things.
And yeah, just students driving change on campus. It's so cool to see what happens.
Yeah.
So talk about real history and how.
Yeah, so
Indigenous
it was
peoples
just,
got it.
it's really cool because it's a whole day of just events on campus that pertain to like where Indigenous people come from, the history, the background of the peoples. And like we had people like Radmelia Cody who performed, and then we also had different like workshops during the day to introduce people to Indigenous subjects on campus and just explain more about like the different tribes that are around here on campus.
Cool.
And, you know, we have El Centro, too. They do Fiesta on the Mesa, which is a really big thing for Hispanic and people of that background. And then we also have, where is it? Oh, it's Common Ground training. Oh, my gosh, yeah. They're huge on diversity and, like, safe zone training. And they also hit on important topics for the LGBT community. And so, I mean, it's really huge, like, inviting campus, like, especially in cultural aspects. So
Yeah.
I definitely recommend
And what I like is just how open everything is. Like whether you're a member of a certain cultural organization or you just want to learn more about it, these groups are so welcoming to just learn more about Hispanic heritage or about LGBTQ issues.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool component.
I think it's also worth pointing out, though, when the question was about kind of culture and so forth, and even though it's non-campus, I think you have a unique experience. You got to travel abroad, and I think that's something that we offer to students that is pretty unique. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I got to go to Germany. Last time this year, I was actually in Heidelberg, and it was the most amazing experience I've had since I've been here, just because as a student I wasn't really sure of my ability to go abroad, just because when you're in your curriculum people make it seem really tough and you got to stay on one path kind of, but I mean it gave me the option to explore business and a different cultural aspect of Germany.
Yeah.
And it was a great motivation to actually sign up for the courses, fundraise for the events and stuff like that were going to get me there.
And so that's the JTA, right? The Junior Trimester Abroad, as we call it, even though we're not on the trimester system. It's just such a good acronym. We can't let it go. And so you actually went over there with Fort Lewis College professors, right?
Yeah, it was
How
awesome.
was that set up?
So it was set up where there were 15 of us who all went with, like you said, FLC professors, and they taught us in courses that went from 8 to 5 p.m. at least 4 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And so it was very interactive for those 4 days, but then the 3 days you could just go anywhere. As long as you were submitting where you were going. I was on a bus every every chance I got. I was going to a different
Put me on a
country.
bus.
Yeah, and it was just so crazy because it was places were 3 hours away. So I mean if you wanted to go to France from where we were, it was a 12-hour bus ride, but a 3-hour train ride, and
Oh, cool.
the plane tickets were so cheap. I mean it was.
So what other
really-
places did you visit while you were there?
Oh gosh, I went to Sweden, Croatia, Switzerland, Belgium, Brussels. Oh gosh, I can't even.
So cool.
Yeah, it was a really great experience, and you got to do so much in so little time, even with the constraints that you had with academics. But it was still very immersive, and so you were able to incorporate a lot more into your education that you had first planned. So with business, we went to different places like the Karcher Cleaning Company and the BASF, the chemical company in Germany, and they taught us a lot just about how to incorporate those business aspects in an international setting.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. Did either of you guys study abroad at all? Not,
No, I didn't.
just
I didn't
yet?
get the chance. I would have
Okay.
loved to, though. I think it's a great opportunity
Really
for
is.
anyone. Yeah.
It's a super cool thing. And that's run through our International Programs Office, which isn't a part of the Leadership Center, but just another great opportunity that the campus provides.
Absolutely.
I think another aspect of cultural organizations on campus that's really great is the collaboration between them.
Ooh.
I know that Black Student Union has had the opportunity to collaborate with Latinx, which is a community organization in Durango with a lot of Fort Lewis students who are involved with that. And then we also had the chance to recently, during Healthy Relationships Week, partner with PRISM and put on a talk about interracial relationships. Which was really interesting and great to be able to partner with organizations who maybe aren't the same as you culturally, but still have this experience that they want to share and this culture that they want to put out there. So I think in addition to Native American Center and El Centro, the Gender and Sexuality Resource Center is a great place to find your culture.
Yeah, for sure. So many different options. And Katie, could you talk about the Environmental Center a little bit?
Yeah, the EC. It's a great place. Like the Leadership Center, I mean, you walk in and you see students who are working there through work study or volunteering there, or even just hanging out around the Environmental Center. We recently had an updated space.
It looks very nice.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have a nice.
I bring my
table
plants
break.
over to the EC when I kill them, and then the EC nurses them back to life,
Nurses
and
them
they
back to
look
life.
beautiful.
Yeah. So the EC, we have 5 different teams now. The aesthetic activists are a group of artists on campus who are basically our support system for graphic design, but they also have their own projects going on. You'll see around campus currently there's a paper cups campaign talking about what can and can't be recycled. And they also actually redid the boards above all our recycling and
They're
trash
so
stations.
cool. I
Yeah.
can't believe them. Yeah.
Very creative.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then we have our zero waste team. We have our energy impact team, local food security team, and Real Food Challenge team.
And we just finished up a Real Food Challenge thing, if you could talk about that.
Yeah, so
Or
I'm
what
on
that
the-
is overall.
I'm on the Real Food Challenge team, and the Real Food Challenge is a national organization, and we implement it here at Fort Lewis College through a campus commitment that we signed with our president, saying that we're going to shift 20% of our food purchasing dollars towards real foods, which are ecologically sound, humane, fair, and local. And the way that the Environmental Center and Real Food Challenge team tries to implement that goal is that we created this democratic process. And this is something that Fort Lewis students created, and we actually, this past semester, got to go and present about it at a national conference called ASHE. But that process is called Vote Real. And we did just finish up a vote session, and we ask our community members, our students, faculty, anyone who's up on campus, alumni, to vote for an option that they would like to see permanently shifted in our dining locations towards a real food. And it's pretty great. This past vote was you could choose between humane pork or organic yogurt. And that's something that's new for us. One, we branched out of the produce sector.
That's what
and
they've done in the past.
Yeah, and we've always had ecologically sound or organic options in our vote. So this time we got to have people choose between 2 different real categories, which is really interesting because then you get to see like what matters most to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was really close, the vote,
Really?
right?
Really
the vote
close.
was super close between those 2 options.
My interns and I got in a fiery discussion about which one would be better.
Yeah. So
And who won?
humane pork won.
That's what I voted for.
Yeah, 53% of the votes.
Oh, wow.
So it was
I
very
didn't know it was that close. Cool. Any other organizations that you guys want to talk about? Could you talk about ASFLC a little bit? I think that's really interesting. Just
Sure.
How,
Well, and just real quick,
Yeah.
I do though want to give a shout out. I mean, Sodexo is our campus dining
Absolutely.
partner, and you know, just working
good
with them
collaborator.
and getting the ability to even do that. You know, to go to them and say, how can we put this together, and you know, and collaborate, and for them to support that, because as a rural isolated place, you know, coming up with those options. So I mean, it really does demonstrate how I think that idea is important to us as an institution and our partners. And again, the students are creating that change. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I know talking to other Real Food Challenge schools, like they don't have that relationship with Sodexo that we have,
Yep.
to where we're able to figure out what the best shift would be, or to figure out how we can get sustainable choices and options into even our policy with them, which is great, like to be able to work on that student to constituent level.
Yeah, and really make an effect on the food that's available to students on campus.
right, right. Because every little bit helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And we understand that food's a big part of people's experience here.
Yeah.
Very important.
Definitely. So ASFLC is the Associated Students of Fort Lewis College. It's student government. And they are made up of elected members, senators, and vice president, president, and what's called another person who's called the Financial Allocation Board Director, or FAB Director. And so student government is by the students for the students. I think that's a common theme of what we're talking about, but it truly is. I mean, student government is, number one, they oversee a budget of about $500,000 that comes from student fees. Every student pays student fees at Fort Lewis, and those fees go to support different types of things. And all of the groups that we've talked about here today receives funding through student government. And so it is a way that, again, the students have the opportunities to try and do different things, and student government is there to really speak on their behalf. So if a student has an issue that they'd like to bring forth, I think a great way to do it is to go to student government. They meet every Wednesday at 7 o'clock, like clockwork. They start at 7 o'clock sharp. And students come in and talk about issues that they have or they'd like to see changed on campus.
So can you give me an example of like an issue that might be brought up?
So here's, I think, a really important, great example. I mean, I think we're all aware of current situation in our country for DACA recipients, and students went to student government and advocated for a statement basically saying we support DACA recipients, and we're going to implement the following things, or keep doing this, the following things, because I think as an institution we already have protections and so forth and policies. But they wanted to hear from student government that we are going to support this, and they did. They showed up en masse and had a great statement and a couple, some great meetings to talk about it, and student government, I think, did a great job of following through and saying, absolutely, we're going to support our people and our students. So that's just one example, but it can be about anything on campus. We have a composter on campus that came out of an initiative that student government ran, where students come in with ideas. It's called Ideas for Innovation. And students come in with ideas, it's voted on by students, and then basically student government kind of takes the lead and says, okay, here's what the students would like to see happen. And because of that, we compost a large amount of food waste on this campus that the EC knows about very well, because they're very involved with that. So there's a big cycle here of student contributions and involvement, and but ultimately student government has the oversight of all student organizations on campus. They assist and provide the disbursement of funding to all those student organizations in some form or fashion. And they are here to, I think, first and foremost, be the voice, the advocate for all students.
Right, and so Dustin, our student body president, he's at the Board of Trustees meetings. He's out there really representing the students in a vocal way. Which is
and that's not the case at every institution. One of the things that I think it is unique and impactful here is the student body president, ASFLC president, sits on every level. They are on the Board of Trustees, they're on the president's cabinet, they're on the budget committee. I I mean, they currently, Dustin is a representative for the presidential search.
He's also on the name change committee.
Name change committee, yes.
Really interesting.
So the idea of students having a voice, and not just a voice, but I know this for a fact, they are listened to, they are heard, is, I think, a wonderful and important thing here. And it will only continue, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think it's great also because, I mean, Dustin's one student, but he's so accessible for all the other students. Like, he's always willing to talk with you about what you're doing on campus, what you want to see changed, what you want to see continued to be implemented, which I think is great.
Yeah, for sure. One thing that we haven't talked about yet was student union programming. Is anybody
Yeah.
involved with that?
So I'm actually the
Awesome.
intern for the program.
You guys are representing everything here.
And it's a really great program. I mean, they run everything from like Skyfest to different events that happen here on campus. So we do the like weekly movie nights to keep students occupied for those who live on campus. We do things like the Build a Buddy workshop where students actually
So
got
popular.
to like,
Who doesn't want a bear or a dog?
and then we get involved with like different wellness activities. So they had the student health fair in the beginning of the year, which we participated in.
Right.
And we also like just play large parts on campus about finding out what students want here and trying to implement those things on campus.
Yeah.
So like we have different performers who come to campus. We had a hypnotist who actually came in the beginning of the year, and that was
they have
really
dogs with
interesting.
him?
Yeah, he had the cutest animals with him. Oh my gosh. But I mean, I really do love the program because you get to see all the students interacting, and you get to see like a huge range of students because not every student will show up for the same event.
Right.
And like they come on their own time, on their own schedule, and they're always like, oh, this is here for us. And we're like, yeah, just tell us what you want.
And just about everything's free that SUP puts on, right?
Yeah, it's all through student fees. So everything that we provide to students is basically like what they ask us for, and it's free to them to come and show up and to engage with us.
So cool. Awesome. So speaking of student programming and events, what would you guys say is your favorite event on campus? Anyone? It could be a one-time thing or maybe a tradition that happens every year.
I would say I love doing
You don't have to
events
just
on
pick one.
campus. One that comes to mind that was new this year that SUP put on, and I enjoyed partaking in was there was a roller rink set up in the ballroom.
That's right. I didn't get to see that one.
Yeah.
Tell me everything.
Well,
How did that go?
I'm not very good at roller skating, but some of my friends are really good. So it was just fun to be in that atmosphere. And I fell a couple times, but they were doing all sorts of cool tricks. It was nice to just be in a space that was there for you personally.
Yeah, just like really creative, out of the box ideas. Like, let's just build a roller rink for one night. How cool is that? Awesome. Other favorite events?
There was this guy who came from it's like Post Secret. And so he came and he talked to a bunch of students on campus, and he did his play over at the concert hall. And it was like really interesting just because like I didn't actually know what it was about, and it's people who write in their secrets on postcards to him. And it was like really interesting just getting to hear like his aspect on like what it's like to receive all those secrets from people, because people become really open and honest after a time. And he talks about receiving like hundreds of thousands of letters and like just like postcards.
Full of secrets.
Yeah, and it was just so great to get to talk to him, and I think it's great that we bring people like that to campus.
Yeah, for sure.
I think one of my favorite, I have a lot of favorite events here, but I think one that most recently happened was definitely the FLC drag show.
Yes,
And
please talk
it
about
was-
that.
It was just amazing seeing like different students partake in drag and their reasons for taking part in drag. We had one student say it represents tribal sovereignty because you can represent yourself in a new way, and how you come to terms with identity. So I thought that was like really strong, empowering, and plus like we saw, like I said, other students go up there. It was a very fun, engaging, and very, very positive event.
And even Skylar was there, right?
Yeah. And the closing act was Skylar coming out in drag, and the first thought that came to my mind was, oh my God, I love my college. Like, where else will you see your mascot come out in drag? But yeah, like that thought was playing through my mind as I was like Snapchatting it, saying like, wow, this is amazing. But yeah, definitely the energy in there was very positive, and I just kept thinking, wow, it's really awesome to come to a college where if you have an idea or a passion or you want to like pursue it, like your college is going to be there to support you through it. And I thought that was like probably the strongest takeaway I got from that event.
Cool. And maybe I'll start with you on this one, Natalia, because you're getting ready to graduate. But what kind of skills would you say you've learned throughout your different experiences in leadership, RSO involvement, that are going to make an impact in your career?
Oh my God, I cannot like...
There's no limit. You can say as many skills as you want.
I honestly attribute a lot of like the things that have happened to me so far in terms of like career and professional academic growth to being involved in RSOs. The first RSO I ever joined was the student alumni networking.
I remember that.
And I remember coming in here to the Leadership Center for the first time with the president at the time, Chelsea, and she was introducing me to everyone. And I'm like really quiet, really shy. I'm probably like blushing. And I just keep thinking like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But being involved in that RSO helped me like open up more and talk to people. That was probably like the biggest takeaway from being a part of the club was saying like, oh, hi, my name's Natalia. I'm so-so, or this is this. And that was like the first step in me wanting to try to learn new things. So a lot of times, because I'm a student ambassador too, so I give tours to students here on campus.
One more thing to do.
One more thing to do. But yeah, and I always tell them, like, it's pretty awesome that here at Fort Lewis, it was never like, oh, you're a business major and you can't do this, or you should do this instead, or you should do this. It was more like, if you have an interest, go ahead and do it. I got involved with the Indy, like I said, my sophomore year, learned how to do promotions, work with a budget, fundraise, learn how to write AP style, and learn how an organization works. And then after that, I used what I learned there to try and incorporate that into being, I guess, very vocal about Native issues that some of our number of our students may face. And so, like I said, the Indy taught me how to write AP style and submit an article to the Herald. It taught me to be more RSOs taught me to be very outspoken about issues that I'm very passionate about, and kind of being a representative for a lot of the students here as well. But yeah, so I learned how, like I said, to write. That got me an internship in DC one summer. Last year I interned in New York in public health. And one of the things that they told me about my application, they were like, wow, you have a very diverse application. Like, it says you're a business major, but you're a communications minor, but you've taken classes in Native American Indigenous Studies, you're involved with this news organization, you did a networking club. And so seeing that was able to like not only set me apart, but it also helped in just pretty much like I got to create the education I wanted here and outside the classroom too. I mean, like I said, I didn't really know what I was like getting into half the time, but being a part of like the different RSOs here has really like opened my eyes to what it is I want to learn. Because like right now I'm doing KDUR too, learning how to, I think Mark just like heard me on the radio, he popped his head in right after I got done like speaking on there. It was like, I just heard you on the radio. And I was like, yeah, that was me. But yeah, that's like probably one of my biggest takeaways is just like creating the education that I wanted here. And now that I'm leaving, it's like a little kind of bittersweet.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things I wanted to like highlight was one of my favorite experiences with the Leadership Center was, I'm not sure if like we still do that, but we took students to a conference, a leadership conference in Tucson, and I applied for it, was one of the people who was going to go to the conference. And I remember like telling Mark and Patrick and saying like, I've never flown in a plane before.
Wow.
What am I kind of getting into? And what they did was the next meeting, they printed out a whole packet for me of tips for boarding a plane, TSA rules, and all these different things of like tips of like for first-time flyers. And I actually still have them.
Well, I mean, if you're interning in a different city every summer, you've got to have those tips on hand.
I've flown a couple times since then, but that's always one of the things that kind of plays in my mind. I remember, and I'm just like, wow, like even down to those little details like that. I mean, the plane ride wasn't that long. It was like Tucson. But they gave me like...
You were prepared.
Yeah, they made sure that I was prepared before going on. And I think that's one of like the key highlights of this Leadership Center and all the staff who are working here is that they want to truly help students succeed and help support students. So, so that little spiel.
So I hear a new tagline, Fort Lewis College, we'll get you through TS.
Yes.
No matter what, 100%. Awesome. We only have like 2 minutes left, but Katie, if you could just real briefly touch on a couple skills that have been so important to you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess going off this TSA spiel, through connections with my professors, I was able, and work and BSU, I've been able to go to 3 conferences. I presented at 2 of them. That was amazing. Being able to know how to network and talk with people who have more experience than you and show that you matter too, and you have a strong voice. I think, yeah, just developing how, like Natalia said, I speak out on behalf of others through BSU and in my public health major. But it's been great being here. Any organization that you're a part of within student affairs will definitely make you grow as a leader, as someone who's able to organize meetings and just get through the day in an organization, which is amazing.
Yeah, which is stuff you're going to need to do the rest of your life. And Jolie, same? Any quick tips that you've learned or skills that you've got?
Yeah, I mean, like the biggest part of my time here has taught me a lot about just like self-care, you know? I mean, like as a student, you're constantly like immersed like in your academics, in school life, in sports, education. I mean, like it's a whole realm of things, and I think it really taught me to take time for myself and figure out, you know, what I really want, what I'm really passionate about, and where I want to take, you know, my career and my life, and like find the time to actually like take a moment and like think about things before jumping into them too, just because it was like really like me trying to get involved in everything at once, and then me being more selective and trying to figure out, you know, where do I want to go in my life, and like what do I want, like what type of people do I want to be around, what type of people do I want to meet. And it really just brings me back to the Leadership Center every single time, just because I mean, like these are all people I've worked with like throughout my college career, and I'm really excited that I got to make these connections, you know.
Awesome. Gosh, everything you guys are saying is just so awesome. You make me cry.
It's an awesome story.
Well, cool. Well, that's the end of FLC Live for this time. We've got so many more planned over the next couple weeks. March 1st is going to be exercise science, which is going to be in our new Department of Health Sciences. We'll learn all about that. March 8th, we're going to take off because it's spring break, and we are going to be in many other places. March 15th will be, psychology. March 22nd will be the cost of college, which will be a panel with different people representing financial aid, student billing, and housing. And then March 29th is going to be a panel about the name change consideration that we're all going through. So lots of cool opportunities coming up in March. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks to this awesome panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.